Hello and welcome. Marks Spencer, the ubiquitous British retail brand, has been in India for almost 13 years. But despite everything, including the threat of online retail, it's actually growing and growing fairly ambitiously. Joining me now to discuss what Marks and Sparks is up to in India and the plans ahead is Venu Nair. Venu, thank you so much for speaking with us. So, first question, what's your experience been? I know that you've just announced that you're going to go from 40 to 80 retail stores, so which means things are looking good.
Yeah, I think that's our experience in India has been extremely good, and we are very pleased with the progress that we have been making. So we formed a joint venture with Reliance Retail in 2008, and since then our journey in India has been a pleasure. As you know, Marks and Spencer is UK's most loved brand, and what we have been able to do is to bring that brand and get awareness first, and then get accepted within the Indian consumer. The very fact that we are looking to continue to expand and grow is a result of that.
How are you planning or scoping this round of growth compared to the way it was done in the last 6 years?
So, I mean, the initial phases was obviously about establishing the brand in the country, and we are now established and we are into 14 cities in the country. If you separate out Delhi into Noida, Gurgaon, etc., then actually we are into 18. And we've now gone into some of the smaller cities and towns. So we are expanding beyond the big cities. And that's obviously because of the confidence we feel that we have now accepted as a brand. So we've now opened in cities like Kanpur, Ludhiana, Baroda, so some of the smaller towns and cities. And what we are realizing is that there is a consumer out there who's equally aware internationally, and it's been a very, very happy experience so far.
What are the kind of things that sell the most in your stores?
We are a retailer for the family, and we sell apparel across women's wear, menswear, lingerie, kids, and beauty. And each of these sections has had double-digit growth. So per se, each of the segments has done well. However, what we are also finding is that women's wear was a smaller part of our business when we started. But as the consumer is getting more aware about what's happening in the world, more aware of fashion, more conscious of style, they are adopting to Western wear. So we do see a definite shift coming from ethnic wear to Western wear, and hence women's wear has been growing has been growing faster, I would say, than some of the other segments.
Okay. And what's the one area that has grown and has in some ways surprised you?
There are a number of them. So I would.
So this the first what you mentioned just now.
Menswear itself, but if I just go into within that itself, and women's shorts, for example, 3 years back we probably couldn't give it away if we wanted to, whereas now it just runs out. They're aware of the latest colors, they're aware of the latest styles, and that's what they would go for. Shapewear in lingerie, and that's where we as a company and as a business, our innovation is one of our pillars on which our business has been built in. And our shapewear essentially brings in products which helps our customers and our consumers to feel much more confident about what they're wearing. And again, a couple of years back, the consumer didn't really understand what that was, whereas now they appreciate it, accept it, and it keeps running out. So we do sell a lot of shapewear. So I think there are a number of examples like that.
And I noticed that you haven't mentioned men's at all in this so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think in men's is because when we started in, that was probably the journey that we went into first. And innovation certainly plays a role, and men, I think, generally adopt to performance, anything that's technologically, men are the ones who will adopt to that first. And that's why we've had great success in all our products, which have got, again, that subtle difference, something more than what everyone else would offer. If I give an example, all our chinos have got a stormwear finish on them. And what that does is that, firstly, it makes it stain resistant, oil resistant, all of that. But also, just if there is a drizzle, you walk out and the water doesn't get absorbed. And that's something which, firstly, in a country like India, where it's very, very advantageous, people adopt to that. Or if I give a different example, our linen, and we do extremely well on our linen. And what differentiates our linen from our competition is the fact that we've got a certain finish we put onto the garment which makes it resistant to creasing. And that makes it much more comfortable to wear, but also at the same time it doesn't look too crumpled or
so you think these are the innovations which are working in a market like India, or
exactly.
maybe more so than elsewhere. Okay. So the inevitable question, how do you look at online retail? I mean, and the competition from online retail?
At the moment, we have 42 stores in the country, and as you said, our target is to get that to 80 stores by 2016. And we are focusing on our brick and mortar stores. And within our brick and mortar stores, what we offer and what we bring to the customer is a shopping experience which is second to none, and creating that environment for the customer to be able to shop at leisure, but at the same time be able to get what she wants at the right places and at the right times is very, very important. And what we are trying to do is to go closer to the customer, and that's why we are expanding at the rate that we are expanding in. At the moment, we don't do online retail in India. Internationally, and our stated purpose of business is to be an international multi-channel retailer, and that's the journey that Marks Spencer has been on globally, and that's the journey we are on. However, in India, we are not yet in the retail space, I mean on the online space.
But you could, is what you're saying, if you wanted to. Yeah.
It's something that we would definitely look at, but I mean, the future, who knows what it holds.
Right.
So I would leave it at that.
Right. Okay. So how are you seeing the competitive environment? I mean, not necessarily from online, but overall. I mean, in terms of how people are looking at brands and how people are comparing, and what brand value do people assign? What's your learning or takeaway there?
The customer and the consumer in India is very much worldly aware today with the fast advent of internet. As the internet's expanding, people are aware of the latest trends, the latest fashion that gets launched in London, Paris, Milan. And we as an international retailer, we bring in those latest trends, the latest fashion and aspirational trends into this country at the same time as the rest of the world. And what we find is that the customers absolutely loving that, liking it, and that's why they come to us for. What we offer is international fashion, international styles, and quality which is aspirational at prices which are extremely affordable, and that's what the customer likes about us.
Right. Are you have you indigenized? I mean, I know you talked about some of the things that you've done with linen and trousers and so on. But are there any other insightful indigenization efforts, or are you taking product from here elsewhere? I mean, products which have some kind of design correlation with India.
What we do for, I mean, we believe that we are an international global retailer, and what we bring is international fashion to the customer here. However, we also do adopt and adapt to the countries that we go in. If I look at India specifically, and what we do is to tweak our catalog to bring in the local requirements. Or, for example, color is so much more important in India, and you see around, there's so much color all around. And so we do add a few more colors within the season's palette, so within the trends for the season, but we would have a slightly higher level of color for India compared to the rest of the world. Another example I can give you is pockets in formal shirts. Most of our formal shirts that we sell worldwide don't have pockets because people wear jackets.
But Indians love them.
But Indians don't necessarily wear jackets, at least not on a daily basis. So to have a pocket to put your pen, your mobile, or whatever else is very important. And that's something, that's an adaptation we made. And that's definitely helped to grow our sales on formal shirts.
Right. So last question. So I mean, as you roll out more stores, as you expand in this country, what are some of your concerns on either operational or regulatory issues that you feel that can sort of help make the whole environment much more conducive for growth and expansion?
The availability of good quality real estate is always a challenge. I presume, and I know that it is a challenge for all countries, but I think in India it gets it's slightly more acute because of the lack of enough good quality new development coming up in the form of malls, in the form of retail shopping space. So availability of space definitely is one. I think the second one is infrastructure and the time it takes to transport goods from one part of the country to the other is certainly much longer than it would be in a lot of other countries. So that definitely puts a challenge from a logistics point of view. So I think those would be the two that would definitely, we would hope to see much more progress on.
Right. We wish you all the best for your next 40 stores. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Govind.
Thank you.
Pleasure.